Here's what you're missing over at patreon.com/Addressing Gettysburg.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of Addressing Gettysburg. And today I have a special treat for you. If you're sci-fi fans, you may know my guest from Tron. If you're television show fans, you may know him from Scarecrow and Mrs. King, and going way back to How the West Was Won and a myriad of other things. But most of us in this world certainly know him as having played General Longstreet in the movie Gods and Generals. And I speak of no other than Bruce Boxleitner. Hello, Bruce.
Hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for doing this.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
It's been my pleasure. We spent a lot of time together over the last couple of weeks. I got to say, you are a lot of fun to hang out with.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gave you a tour, three tours, I think. We went to...
it's like 3 tours in Vietnam. No, I mean, it was Gettysburg. We did. In fact, it was. I've been trying to encourage the film we're doing here has got a very young cast. I'm one of the few older ones on there. Mm-hmm. And because I'm a history buff, as you know. But I learned a lot from you. The things I thought I knew, you're much more detailed.
Yeah.
I know general things.
I like to bust myths.
I know you're a myth buster.
Yeah.
But no, I just tried to get the kids. I was walking them around town. Most of them, like we were talking about earlier, think that they're more about the ghost stories.
Yeah.
And I happen to be in agreement with you. Most of it is myth, and that's wonderful too. And what do I always tease you about? John Ford's favorite words were, "When the legend becomes fact, print the legend."
Right.
So
or something like that.
Yeah, or something like that. That was in fact, that was a line used by the newspapermen.
In Liberty Valance.
In Liberty Valance,
That's
right. So anyway, I think this is a very mythological place.
Yeah.
Based on a horrible reality of war, but so many great stories and so many people in the town. Did you hear about this? And
right.
It's kind of great.
People love living here and they love sharing it with visitors.
Yeah.
I
would think so.
Well, especially famous ones. It's their chance to meet a famous person.
Yeah.
But this isn't your first time here though. You've been here, I think you said 3 times.
This will have been my third time. I came up here twice when we were shooting down in Maryland. We were stationed. We were headquartered in Hagerstown,
right? And
that became our base, and that we drove up here a couple times.
How is Hagerstown compared to Gettysburg as a place to stay while shooting a movie?
It was fine. It was fine. I was fascinated by that area because my character, I was trying to learn everything I could about James Longstreet.
Right.
So even though the part wasn't gigantic, that doesn't matter. I was still James Longstreet.
Yeah, and you're in the Fredericksburg scene, which is awesome.
Right. And in the Blu-ray of it, where, because Ron Maxwell tends to make like 10-hour movies.
Yeah, I noticed.
Gigantic movies. And at the time, that couldn't be released in that time like that, so they have to chop it on down. But we have what the great privilege of having a director's cut now of movies, and we get the big story. Yeah. And I love that. Now, I can sit through a 4-hour movie.
I can too, yeah.
Well, if it's in my home, I can just put it on pause and go
do whatever you got to do.
Go to the bathroom and get a beer, one or the other. But, it's something like that.
But there was, I don't think I've seen the director's. Oh, no, I have, because it has Antietam in it, which the theatrical release did not have.
Right. There's something's got to go. It must be very painful to do that because Ron is... I don't know if you've ever talked to him, but
not yet. Well, I met him, but haven't done an interview yet.
Wonderfully knowledgeable.
Yeah,
and certainly he formed the relationship with Michael Shara and then his son Jeff Shara, who wrote the subsequent sort of trilogy there after Killer Angels.
Yeah,
I remember. A little side note: I was doing Steinbeck's East of Eden for ABC. People remember it from James Dean being in it. But in the original movie. But we did the whole novel, and it was one of these all-star casts. It was an ABC production. And we shot in, where the heck was it? Outside of Savannah, Georgia. Mm-hmm. And it was the very beginning of the novel. And
This is Veronica and her mother, Kathy. They just walked in.
Hand me my hat there, please.
There you go.
Sit down.
Have a seat. Yeah. Pull that chair out for Kath there so you could sit on the other chair, Ronnie.
Anyway, long story short, I was with an actor named Timothy Bottoms. We were the original Cain and Abel in the story. It was an allegory of Cain and Abel. And but Warren Oates, the great Western and character actor from The Wild Bunch and all of Sam Pickman, he was playing our father. And I just finished reading The Killer Angels, and I said, Warren, you've got to read this book. And he looked like John Brown in this thing,
the crazy hair,
fiery looking, big beard they had on him, and he's one of the great character actors. Anyway, he said, I got to get this to Sam. And the next day he started reading it. And that book really was an inspiration to me to read further into the Civil War, because the stuff I knew as a kid when we had the centennial of it. 1961 through 65. I was 11 years old, and they came out with all these toys and hats and muskets and all those kind of things. I even had a big toy set of the Civil War with blue and gray soldiers. They had an old, looked like the Burnside's Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
With cannon marks in it.
Yep. My friend had a Cowboys and Indians one when I was a kid.
Exactly. So that's where my interest in the Civil War is. So,
But that's what we talk about that a lot on the show, is how the Killer Angels and subsequently the movie Gettysburg are kind of a gateway drug to Gettysburg, the history, not a fictionalized version of it.
Well, the movies always did that for me. That's why I love period movies. I love the westerns. I love all that because it gave me something to go and look. What's the real story? And some oftentimes much more fascinating, than a screenplay can do.
How old were you when you decided you want to get into acting? And what made you? What made you do it?
I was like, I tried out. I played baseball in high school, and I tried out for the basketball team. I was not a good student.
Me either.
I wasn't. Yeah. They just didn't fire me up, you know.
Yeah.
And
because we're geniuses, and so we're not able to sit. We're not able to sit in a classroom.
Why our guests are here.
Exactly.
They want to see genius at work.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I think they want to see
I think
one of us here.
I think it was the sophomore year of high school. I didn't make the basketball team. I was never really that coordinated in that department. But I walked into a fall play audition, and I think I was a freshman, and you had to be a sophomore to be able to be in the drama guild.
Okay.
And they had quite a talented group of young people in our high school, and we had this teacher who I think everybody in their life maybe has one person that influenced them somewhere along the line, be it a teacher, a parent, or relative, or someone they met. Well, this was my influence. I walked in, and it was a play by the mystery writer Agatha Christie. It was called 10 Little Indians, and Then There Were None. And it was a terrific, it made a couple film versions of it. But I auditioned, and I got the role of Philip Lombard, the young hero in the end, And I don't know, I was always a television and film watcher.
But this is while you were a freshman, though you had to be a sophomore?
Yes, and I walked in, and they broke the rule.
Wow, you were that good?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah. Well, that's usually the best people end up being that way, right?
So all I remember is I think hearing those applause at first. I said, wow. Yeah. This is magic.
Veronica had that experience the other night. We were doing a show. It was her first time in front of a live audience as a host, and when people applauded, I remember her whispering to me, "Ooh. My God, I'm addicted now." Right, Veronica?
It is.
No, but it is. But no, really, what was your thought about that? Because
It's fun. It's fun, yeah.
But the applause, did it feel weird, or did you not even notice?
It felt weird.
It did feel weird.
It is weird,
but it's a good weird.
But suddenly, it's this feeling of people appreciated what I just did.
Yes.
And other than that, I loved, the whole when we rehearsed the play and mounted the play and got it going. All of that, this process, I found this group of like minds, and to be a part of instead of And I didn't. I wasn't a good student. I say that now. My mom used to say, "Never tell people that," but I followed my passion. But the thing was, the lady that was our English and literature department, and she was also the head of the Drama Guild, saw something in me to break that whole thing, that rule about sophomores, and the seniors didn't appreciate it that much, because we were actors, theater, and everything. They were so Shakespearean, walking around with ascots on. I mean,
are you kidding me?
1960s.
High school kids?
High school kids, yes.
Ugh.
And so, those were those drama snobs.
Yeah, those pretentious pricks.
But also the prettiest girls were in this thing, and so that was another great aspect of it. And so anyway, long story short, I started doing the plays. My grades got worse because I just didn't pay attention to anything else going on, and and ended up our senior year. We took a cutting of a play by Robert Bolt. It was a Academy Award-winning movie that year. It was called A Man for All Seasons, about Sir Thomas More and his crisis of conscience with the King of England, who eventually had his head removed and hung on Traitor's Gate.
Yes.
But it was for a real cause and a real principle that he did it. It was a story about a principled man who died before his principles. Anyway, we took this around and entered into contests with all in Illinois, the state of Illinois. They had all these drama contests. And we brought back the trophy back to our for number one in the state of Illinois. And that was a beautiful thing. Of course, we were a school that only celebrated football and basketball trophies.
Right.
Got tucked away in the trophy case in the hallway of the school. But I was very proud of it. So my teacher and drama coach, Mrs. Patricia Lukowitz, her name was, had connections. And in Chicago, especially to the Goodman Theater, which was a big repertory theater downtown, and it also had a school. And guys like Carl Malden and that had joined it back in the 30s and before World War II and during the war. And Geraldine Page, a bunch of wonderful stars had come from there. And she didn't get me in it, but she got me an opportunity to audition before them. And they liked my audition, and I got a semester probation. All this while the Vietnam War is raging. I turn 18 and sign up for the draft. And but this was not an accredited school so far as
getting out of the draft.
For a deferment.
Right.
So all that time. But I went there and moved downtown to Chicago eventually. Had some great roommates who went on to do other things as well in the music world and everything. And so it was just such a creative time for me to be at the Art Institute there. I took film courses as well on the side. And then I did learn stage crew. I knew every aspect of the theater.
Yeah.
And we had professional acting company there. It was a marvelous place for a young mind to just be a sponge and absorb everything. And then we had these great instructors and great teachers, and we got to rub elbows with professional actors, who would take the time to talk to us and tell us what that life is all about, what it's all really about.
Kind of like inside the actor studio type of thing?
Yeah, inside the actor studio type of thing. Absolutely. Yeah. So, I got a great start there. I was very lucky, but I also was there to take advantage of that lucky opportunity. I'll always praise Mrs. Lukowitz for seeing that whatever little spark she saw that I maybe had some potential in that. And then years later, I'm shooting a big Universal movie with John Goodman about the life of Babe Ruth called The Babe.
Yeah. And
because of a Teamster strike in New York, we didn't shoot in New York City. We shot in Chicago. We used Wrigley Field. We recreated the 1934 World Series where he stood there defiantly and pointed to the center field. It was called what was it called? The called shot.
Right.
In sports history. And he put the next pitch came down the line and Babe Ruth put it over the center field wall, which nobody's done since.
Right. That's the only sports thing I'm aware of, actually.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Before, and we had Lou Gehrig, but it was a big feature. I played Joe Dugan was the third baseman, jumping Joe Dugan. Why did he jump? Well, he jumped contracts back in those days.
Listen to the rest of this interview and dozens like it. Support the show and get early access to special episodes, early and discounted ticket sales, and more. The second lieutenant level and above gets access to all monthly Patreon episodes. So please go to patreon.com/addressinggettysburg, choose a tier, and join. And I thank you in advance.